Hey there folks, this is GreenyXI, welcoming you right back to Let's Play Higurashi. This is episode 17. Last episode, we found out from Ooishi at the restaurant that all of the murders over the cotton drifting festivals and all that, they were all sort of related to our group of friends, so that's really suspicious. And now we're gonna carry on. My cough has gone down now, by the way, so it shouldn't be so bad this time. I wonder how much time had passed since I laid down. It was getting dark outside. My body was soaked in sweat. It would probably be a good idea to change my sheets. At that moment, the phone downstairs rang. It was probably Mom. Mom was quite the worrywart. Maybe she had called many times, but I just didn't notice it. Yeah, he's home alone at night. Hello, this is the Maibara residence. Oh, he's alive! Hello, this is Mion. How are you doing? Is this one of Keiichi's friends? Keiichi is resting now, but should I put him on? Huh? Is this his dad? Well, he's old now, is he? I thought they were still away. Sorry. Idiot. You fell for it. Huh? So he's not home. Oh my god, I fell for it as well. After our exchange, we both had a good laugh together. Except, I was suspicious of her even as we were laughing. Okay, it's not completely bad now, but... Was everybody really involved in the incidents? The fact that I couldn't say no saddened me. I'm relieved that you seem well. I'm sorry, 2 seconds. Okay, there we go. I'm relieved that you seem well. Ren was really worried, you know. Sadako-chan was happy and said you got what you deserved. Vika-chan said, how unfortunate he's sick. Looks like everyone was making a big deal out of it. Well, you know. So, Kei-chan, is now a bad time to come pay you a visit? A visit? No, it's okay. It's not like I'm dying. My grandma made a ton of mochi, you see. I was told to share them. Ah, mochi. I want to try them again. So I'll bring you some. Hey now, you'll catch my cold. Not to worry, both Rena and I are too stupid to catch a cold. See you. Be there in a bit. Too stupid to catch a cold. She hung up cheerfully. Rena's coming too? That's what it sounded like. I was still concerned about meeting Rena, but I guess if she was with Mion... Okay, time to see our mates for a bit. I heard the doorbell 10 minutes later. That was quick. How are you feeling? Did you take your medicine and rest? I did just that. He did? He sweated the bed out. But thank goodness you look well. I was worried. Sorry, I'll be fine by tomorrow. Mion showed a complete lack of concern for someone who's recovering, and Rena looked like she was worried about me from the bottom of her heart. It didn't look like there was anything behind those expressions. I thought we might hang out for a bit, but it looks like you're not quite in the condition for it. You don't say. See, my face appeared a bit sullen. Then here, Keiichi-kun. These are the mochi Mi-chan's grandma made. Rena held out the package wrapped in newspaper. There might be about 5 in here. It was quite hefty. Ah, thanks. Send my regards to your grandma, Mion. Yep. Ah, this one that I made in there as well. Wonder if Keiichi-kun can guess which one. Rena made one. Okay. She's a good cook. This is Kei-chan's homework since you missed the club meeting today. They'll let us on each mochi, so I'll ask you tomorrow. Were you checking if I was feeling better or did you just come here for club activities? Yep, looking fine. Guess you'll be able to make it tomorrow. And what are you gonna do if my fever comes back because of your shenanigans? Mi-chan, we shouldn't be making such a racket. Let's go. The other people here will get angry. Both of them thought my parents were home. It was because the entranceway was a mess. What? If the entranceway was a mess, wouldn't that mean they were away? Wouldn't the parents clean it up? You're right, let's get going. Ah, by the way, Kei-chan. Yeah? What did you eat for lunch? Oh god, now Mion's got a scary face. The sudden question startled me, and I went wide-eyed when I saw Mion. I'd never seen her like that. It was a highly unsettling visage. But why is she asking me about what I ate for lunch? What she said was so inane, it was almost meaningless. The way she said it, it was almost like she didn't even care at all about what I ate. She knows. She knows he was with Ooishi. I ate out. She must have suspected that I was with Ooishi-san. Anyway, I felt that if I hesitated, or tried to change the subject, then I'd read too deep into it, so I tried answering as quickly as possible. Except, contrary to the efforts I had made, There was a pause before they replied. Uh-oh. So you ate out for lunch, Keiichi-kun? The glimmer from Rena's eyes had changed at some point as well. Just now, I saw it. It was now sharp, as if to make me feel the feigned ignorance behind her words even more. As if she already knew. That's how it looked to me. Well, was it good? Why are you asking me this? Mion was speaking in an unusually low tone. Almost as if she knew that I had eaten at the restaurant in town. No, I'm overthinking this. I mean, both of them should have been in school at lunchtime. There was no way they could have known where I was. Seems you were with a rather austere-looking older guy. Who was he? Flop. Flop. The package with the mochi I was holding slipped out of my hands. I could tell the blood had drained from my face, making me so pale. Oh? Keiichi-kun, who was he? Could it be the person from before? I wonder. I could feel the back of my throat going dry. This was no longer a bluff. They knew everything? How do you know that? It took everything I had to finally force those words from my throat. My knees were shaking. Because there's nothing this old man doesn't know. Mion sneered knowingly, and her laugh seemed to carry on forever. So, Keiichi-chan, what did you talk about? It seems like you got pretty worked up over it too. We weren't talking about you guys. It didn't have anything to do with you or Rena. How suspicious to even say that. Isn't it a bit strange to hear our names come up even though nobody asked about that? Exactly. Rena's unwavering gaze pierced through my eyes and peered further inside me. I dug my own grave. My heart was throbbing so much, it felt like I was going to explode. Well, whatever you're trying to hide, this old man already sees through it all. Remember that. I couldn't even shake my head. It took everything I had to stop my teeth from chattering. She never let her gaze break from mine, even as she tilted her head slightly. Keiichi-kun, you don't look so good. I think you should lie down. That's true, we should both head back home. How caring. As if nothing had happened, they both giggled at each other and started making their way out. I hadn't moved a muscle since I had dropped the package of mochi. As they left, the door slowly closed behind them. All I could do was stare, as if I couldn't move until the door was completely closed. Just as the door was just about closed, it opened again slightly with a sudden creak, sending my heart racing once again. A single eye peered in through that narrow slit, and Mion's hawkish gaze peered at me once again. See you, Kei-chan. Yeah. I'd hate it if you missed school tomorrow, alright? Thud. You know, in the anime, I'm pretty sure it's just Rena that comes along. I'm pretty sure it is. The door closed. I wasn't able to move a muscle even after their low laughter died off into the distance, and silence once again enveloped the room. Coming back to my senses, the first thing I did was lock the door. Of course. That's why we're doing all. They knew what Ooishi-san and I were talking about? Why? How? Well, she was stalking, Rena was, but this time I guess. No, that wasn't important. Thinking about it now, all of it could have been overheard from the beginning when Ooishi-san met me. Just as Mion said, I couldn't hide anything. Then, what were they trying to tell me? That part was obvious. They were warning me not to say anything unnecessary. What did they deem unnecessary? I only talked with Ooishi-san about one thing, and they were warning me that was unnecessary. What was it that Ooishi-san talked to me about? The incidents involving Urashiro-sama's curse that occurred every year weren't individual cases, but were connected as a whole, as well as the fact that there may be multiple perpetrators hidden within Hinamizawa. No, more precisely, that Mion, Rena, Satoko and Rika-chan were all suspicious. Is that what they're warning me against? What kind of nonsense am I thinking about? I hit my own face hard enough to let out a loud slap. Oh dear. If only that would wake me from this nightmare, but for some reason it felt like I was punching a blanket. It was almost laughably painless. Calm down, Keiichi. When did I become such a pessimist? Calm down. Settle down and sort things out. The reason Mion knew I was eating lunch with Ooishi-san was probably because somebody from Hinamizawa just happened to be there at the time. Maybe. They must have told Mion that I was there. That made the most sense. Plus, come to think of it, she didn't ask me where I ate lunch, did she? She only asked, was it good? They were just curious since I was together with someone not from Hinamizawa. It's not as if they had any ulterior motives. That's it, that has to be it. Thinking about it that way, it was the same with Rena. I was just being strangely ambiguous about when I met with Ooishi-san, and Rena was just correcting me on that. That's when I was bewildered by the change in character from the usual mild-mannered Rena, and was just startled by it. That's the most natural way of thinking about it. It felt like my mind was mixed up like a tangled mess of spaghetti. Deep red marinara sauce would have poured out of my nose and ears if you squeezed my head. Ew. Squeeze his head and blood comes out, that's what I was talking about, isn't it? Thinking that, I suddenly felt like vomiting. I really didn't want that to happen, so I stopped holding my head. Lately, I had no idea what anyone was saying. Spending time with them was fun. It didn't feel like there was any sort of hidden agenda. I really do think that they're a good bunch of people. When I just moved here, I couldn't make heads or tails of anything. They were really kind to me. Rena was really kind and always looked after me. As long as that strange affliction didn't rear its ugly head, she was really pretty cute. Mion is also a really good person. She didn't care about anyone's age or gender and was optimistic and outgoing. I was never bored when I was with her. And talking of not getting bored, rambunctious Sadako was a good person for that too. She was pretty bratty, but that was just the way she interacted with others. Rika-chan was the same way. She didn't speak often, but that didn't mean she was always silent. They're my friends. But after hearing of the better untold secrets of Hinamizawa from Ooishi-san and Toмотaki-san, when I was told about Oyashiro-sama's curse, things started going crazy. You got paranoid. Then hearing from Ooishi-san that Mion, Rena, Sadako and Rika-chan were all suspicious. After that, everyone changed. That's right. It all started getting weird after Ooishi-san told me all that strange stuff. At that time, I really should have just not listened to those weird stories. And I even shouldn't have heard about the past incidents from Tomitaki-san the night of the Watanagashi. If I just hadn't gotten that strange sense of curiosity, if I just hadn't... That's right. So that's why they... Tomitaki-san. What? Killed? Why'd they block out killed? I thought it was a curse word. Okay. I don't understand. Why'd they block that out? Are they censoring the game? That impudent outsider speaking to the likes of me after everybody went out of their way to keep it a secret from me. They'll probably kill Ooishi-san as well. What's going on? Why is Asterisk killed when it's a horror game? I tried to unearth what everybody was warning me was better left buried. Besides that, he was unforgivable for spewing words that made me doubt the others. Of course a guy like that is going to be killed. Both Tomitaki-san and Ooishi-san were nothing but outsiders after all. They were entities who couldn't coexist with the people of Hinamizawa. Those guys should just fall to Oyashiro-sama's curse and just die. This is weird. It wasn't their fault. I wonder what else has been blocked off then in this game. How much else has been censored? Is it when these scenes go black that it doesn't show certain pictures that were in the other games? I don't know. It wasn't my fault for not being able to hold back my curiosity. Or it was. It wasn't their fault. It wasn't their fault. It wasn't their fault. Oh god, he's going mad. I settled into a daze. It was a lethargic feeling that I had just gotten up, but the ominous chill that haunted me had subsided. I was fine now. I was no longer frightened. I'd completely recovered. I'll go to school tomorrow, right as rain. I'll greet everyone. I'll take part in club activities. It'll definitely be fun. It had to be fun. I was one of them, after all. That reminds me, I need to eat those mochi. I hope I'm able to tell which one Rena made. I remembered the homework the two brought with them when they visited me. But wow, our club did delivery. That was something else. I picked up the package I dropped on the floor and headed into the living room. In the anime as well, Keiichi doesn't eat. He can't cook. So, and his parents haven't left him anything. So Mion and Rena, or just Rena, I can't remember which, come over and bring him mochi. So he's really happy and everything until those faces happen. And he gets suspicious about the mochi, obviously, because, you know, they're being weird themselves. But he tries the mochi anyway. Actually, no, he doesn't try the mochi, he does something else. It would be nice, I guess, to have some tea with it. To fill my mouth with mochi while drinking tea. Oh, this was quite a delectable situation I was in. Opening up the newspaper wrapping, there were 5 plump red bean paste mochi fit snugly inside. He seems happy now all of a sudden. There were letters written from left to right on the newspaper, A, B, C, D, and E. Now then, they said Rena made one of these. I wonder which one. There wasn't much difference in how they looked. They smelled and appeared about the same. This was a pretty difficult problem. The biggest difference was probably their shape. I wasn't sure what kind of person Mion's grandma was, but Rena's had to be different from hers. Looking carefully, I could see one mochi that was made very neatly. so well that just by staring at it, one could tell it stood out. Looks like this challenge depends on whether or not this one is Rena's. Calm down and think even harder. Mion had said her grandma made a ton of them and was told to give some out, if I remembered correctly. So that meant 4 of these were from that large batch. Then what about Rena? She probably only made 1. So she probably spent quite a bit of time on it. Meaning, the one Rena had made was this one. E, the neat one. For a moment, I thought it may have been a trap Mion laid as she knew I'd pick up on it. But that probably wasn't the case. I wouldn't be so sure if I knew Mion had made it, but since she said Rena made it, it probably wasn't a trap. Alright, my tea is ready too. I'll start with the defending champ, Mion's grandma. Let's see. Oh, I fancy some mochi. I can't remember what it's like properly. Not bad. The smooth bean paste and soft chewy texture left little to be desired. The tea I drank afterwards also accentuated the experience. This was an exquisite piece of work. He's got a nice house, to be fair. It really is like a manor. Now, how about Rena's? The creation was so delicate, one would think it was a high-class Japanese dessert. Since I normally had quite the appetite, I was slightly worried about the size of the portion. But, well, first, a bite. This is quite a difficult one to judge, actually. The ingredients were exactly the same, so there was little difference in flavour. What was different was how it was shaped at the end, so it was to be expected. So, the deciding factors would be presentation and volume. The well-formed and well-sized champion versus Rena, the challenger, with a size you just couldn't get enough of. I'd only had 1 bite of Rena's. I'd probably have to wait until after I was done eating to make my decision. Maybe there was something hidden inside that could cause an upset, really. Seems my prediction was right. My tongue touched something. It didn't feel like something edible, so I reached in with my fingers and grabbed it. Oh. What? What was this? Oh, I like the scary music. Before I could fully comprehend what it was, I threw away the rest of the mochi I was eating as fast as I could. It slammed against the wall, causing the bean jam to splatter. Then, after sticking for a moment, it slid down to the floor. I was dumbstruck by my own actions. What was I doing? Ren had gone out of her way to make it for me. How could I? Dumbstruck, I looked down at the hand that performed such a vile act. Then I remembered what I had taken out of my mouth. At first, I thought it was a hair. Even though it was shorter than Mion's, Rena's hair was still quite long. And it wasn't this short. It was also a bit too hard to be hair. It was thick enough to roll around on my tongue. There was a bit of a metallic sheen on one end of it. Ah yes, there was a hole for where thread goes through, like it was a sewing needle. That's right. It looked very much like a sewing needle. Exactly like one. The end was pointed as well, quite sharply. It really did look just like a sewing needle. Huh? What did I mean by looked very much like a sewing needle, just a bit ago? I couldn't answer. But a voice inside me already knew, and let me know by chattering my molars together. I couldn't starve off the terror welling up inside me. Suddenly I tasted something metallic and felt a prickling pain at the back of my throat. I stuck my finger in the back of my mouth, and felt around to see if I was bleeding. Suddenly I felt the urge to vomit. The sharp taste of bile irritated the back of my throat. I clasped both hands over my mouth, and, after writhing in agony, I was somehow able to hold back the nausea. I was finally able to breathe normally again, but this time my heart was intensely throbbing. Then, it finally registered. Exactly what was mixed in with the mochi. Before I could think of the correct words, my hands were already on the move. Splat. Plop. Splot. I tossed the rest of the mochi against the wall. The geometrical patterns of the scattered bean jam on the wall suddenly invoked a terrible omen in my mind. After looking away, I dashed out to the hall and flew upstairs to my room, where I stayed under my covers until morning. Wow! They tried to choke him to death, or, you know, slit his throat from the inside with a sewing needle. I clutched my own shoulders, howling madly in a mix of fear, anger, sadness and frustration. This wasn't a threat, a warning or a reminder, nothing as simple as that. What had happened in Hinamizawa? What's happening in Hinamizawa? What would happen? I didn't know the answer to any of those questions. Where did I break a taboo? Regardless, now Rena and Mion and others, they consider me an enemy. And they thought I should just die. I wouldn't let you kill me. Not for such a pointless reason. I fell into a restless sleep as I was crushed by my negative emotions. It was as if I was being drawn into a billowing, bottomless marsh. Ho-ho. Oh shit! Dragged into a marsh as if he were being abducted by demons that come from the Onigafuchi marsh, or swamp. Hey. That was a good chapter. That was the scene I was thinking was coming. Excuse me. New tip. New tips. Ooh, achievement. Hard to swallow. Look, that's so needle in the achievement as well. Don't know if you can see it. Maybe it's too small. Okay, let's check them out. What's a drug that makes you commit suicide? I don't know. Anything for having enough of it, I suppose. Let's get to the chase. Is there a drug that causes someone to kill themselves? Not directly, no. That's quite a roundabout response. You're saying there's one that does it indirectly? Something that puts you into a suicidal mental state, like that? That's hard to say. What would a suicidal mental state be? What it says. Like a person with a serious bipolar disorder. It's believed that people are most likely to attempt suicide when swinging from depression to mania. Clinical depression and bipolar disorder are different. Clinical depression indicates a prolonged state of depression, whereas bipolar disorder is characterized by a passive depressed state accompanied by a very active manic state. Individuals with clinical depression suffer from low self-esteem and are quite pessimistic, but rarely commit suicide. Okay, they do not have the willpower to commit suicide. This is quite interesting actually to read. Nor does mania on its own lead to suicide. That has an opposite effect, filling the person with confidence and making them feel as though they're walking on air. Thus, they do not commit suicide. That's interesting. Neither state causes suicide, but when the condition changes, they might do so. There is a desire to commit suicide when in a state of depression, but they do not have the willpower to commit such a formidable act. But when they enter mania, they gain a burst of willpower and their body moves as they desire. I see. So it means they gain the willpower to commit suicide. That's how it goes. That's why patients are given sedatives during that time to keep them from acting on their own impulses. Then was Tamataki bipolar? People who suffer from bipolar disorder generally commit suicide by more civilized means, like say hanging or jumping off a building. Self-harm as though going through withdrawal is completely different. Tamataki's death wasn't civilized, so one would think it was caused by some foreign substance. As I said from the start, tell me of a drug that causes someone to commit suicide. There are reports that... I'm not even going to try. Methamphetamine? I did try. Overdoses produce a condition that resembles bipolar disorder. It's a stimulant. Barbiturate overdoses are also reported to cause erratic behaviour. That's a sleep aid. A sleep aid that does that? Oh wow. There were no signs of stimulants. Are there any other possibilities? All I can think of is that there's some sort of illness. Something like Graves' disease, which affects the thyroid and is known to cause symptoms that resemble bipolar disorder. But Graves' disease has many characteristic symptoms of its own. The deceased exhibited none of them. I wonder, is this something that could happen more spontaneously? Something that fits this case and would cause someone to want to commit suicide all of a sudden? You familiar with organic mental disorders? In short, it's a condition where the brain is out of whack due to physical injury or illness. It can be caused by drugs, but it can also be caused by physical trauma, encephalitis, a stroke, or even tumours. Basically, even without a drug, one can succumb to an irregular mental state. Yeah, you can tell. You can tell I don't have a clue about medicine and stuff, can you? I don't believe in taking it unless it's really bad. The deceased was surrounded after being chased, and his life was in danger, right? All that stress could have messed with his brain chemistry, could have hit his head, and those factors combined might have caused him to mutilate himself. It's a possibility. Could you explain it to me in simpler terms? No, we don't need simpler terms. I understand. Basically, he knocked his noggin in the ball, and that made him go haywire. Oh god. Let's laugh. Then his lady didn't have any intent to kill, just smacked him in a bad place when he nicked some change. The two plump men laughed hoarsely, but of course it's not like that. Undoubtedly. Ah, my mouse is gone. There we go. That was weird. If it was habitual drug use, if it was something mental, the deceased body holds the key. How are things on your end? Oh my goodness, look at the time. I need to get back soon or Kuma-chan will get angry with me. Yeah. Good luck. Best wishes. Best wishes. Well, okay, so we got a bit of news about what could have happened to Tamataki. Let's try threat. Sorry, my nose is clogging up. Those guys just now. They had national diet badges. Then it's prefectural assembly member and city councillor Sonozaki. That's interesting. The prefectural assembly member and city councillor are related. It's dirty is what it is. Shouting out each other's name during elections. While one is up for election, the other one holds an assembly. They double up their campaign activities. Blatantly. I don't know much about this stuff, but isn't that against the rules of the election? As long as they have no prior consultation, there are no restrictions on their political activities. Kuma-chan, the investigation division is going to be pretty tough for you. You should at least brush up on election policies. I'm not suited for the intelligence division. Because I'm dumb. Okay. There's Prefectural Assembly Member Sonozaki and City Councillor Sonozaki. Oh yeah. We've heard that name before. Also, the Mayor of Hinamizawa. All of them involved with the Sonozaki family. What crap. Looks like they were seen off by the Department Chief and the Deputy Chief. It came to me. That night when the Chief invited me along to get some Odin, I thought that was it. What's Odin? Ooh. It's food. You have a lot of connections, so you might have heard something, did you? Nope. Not a thing. I'll take a tofu fritter and fish cake. Councillor barked at me in the police chief's stead. Oh my, is that so? I'll take another bowl. Prefectural Assembly Member Sonozaki and City Councillor Sonozaki were both intimidated. God, that's just a mouthful. Our snot-nosed Korea police chief couldn't even handle being yelled at by them. They like Yakuza. A petition with your name came up regarding how the investigation of the Hinamizawa incident is being handled. Goodness, me? I've not had the faintest. No need to play dumb. You're reopening the past cases regarding Hinamizawa, aren't you? I've already got my hands full with Tomtaku's death, actually. Really? If that's true, then it's no problem. There's a period of silence. While we were silent, we made headway on our food and drink. That was quite the feast. This month has been a bunch of losses for me, so my wallet was feeling the pinch. Much appreciated. That's nothing. Tell me a good horse again. What? Tell me a good horse. I bet I'm the same one as you. Oh, okay. I thought it was a saying then. Nah. I haven't been doing well there lately. I haven't been able to read the horses at all. Taxi. I'm going by train. The police chief has taken a taxi. I have my own car, but it'd be rash to drive it home. Can't blow it right before retirement with a DUI. Even though he could still rattle off, it looked like his legs were already due. Pushing him into the cab, I give the driver the police chief's address. Well, see you again tomorrow. Happy New Year! Ooishi-san. Yeah. The past incidents have all been closed. Stop lumping them all together. Those villagers half believe it's really a curse. Well, I'm not convinced. You're going to be retiring next year, aren't you? When are you going to pay off your mortgage with your pension and move up to Hokkaido with your mom? Mother pines to return to the land of her birth. It's the least I can do. And the pension, well, it'll let me enjoy myself in Susukino. The police chief may issue a special retirement salary raise, he says. A public servant's pension is calculated based on a monthly salary. Oh yeah. So if you were to get a raise right before retirement, your bonus to your salary would be inflated. And you get a heavy surplus of funds. That tends to be how it's done around here. Of course, it's not a custom that's thought of highly. The difference between the bonus and the pension is quite a bit. I'd expect nothing less exemplary from our egghead chief. But, well, they say our salary is compensation for our hard work, but in the end, it really just had to do with the passage of time. That's not something I can laugh at, but I'll laugh through it anyway. I don't think it's anything exemplary. But given how hard you worked, it's not odd that you're getting that much for a pension. I'd like to get that much myself. If I can get it, well, of course I'd want it. You'll get it. You're an adult after all. And they all work there? What? Sorry for holding you up here, driver. Thank you very much. I closed the door roughly, interrupting the chief's conversation a bit rudely. Looked like the chief still had something to say, but he just smiled wryly and waved. I waved in return. The cab sped up gradually, and soon disappeared among the sea of lights. Yeah. Oh man. I wonder if I really can repay that loan. Or, you know, mortgage. Anyway, so we just found out that Ooishi... He's retiring, as we knew before, but we also found out that the rest of the police don't want him doing anything to do with it, which I suppose we found out before, but now we know more specifically. Anyway, this has been Greeny XI. Hope you've enjoyed. I'm going to try recording again later, because I might feel a bit better then. See you again in a bit, folks.